Good day, everyone. So my name is Crisan Salvabreeze, and now let us proceed to Rizal's love affair. So who is Jose Rizal? So as what we have known, Jose Rizal is our national hero, and his real name is Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Rialonda. So he was born on June 1861 at Calamba, Laguna, Philippines. So he died on December 30, 1896 at the age of 35 in Bagumbayan, Manila, Philippines, and now what we have known as the Rizal Park. So his major organization is the La Solidaridad and La Liga Filipina, and his major monuments is the Rizal Park. So Jose Rizal, even before he became our national hero, he was a young boy who experienced the same feelings of admiration and affection that most of us go through. So his early love stories shows us that he was not only a man of great intelligence and courage, but also someone with a tender heart. So two of the most well-known ladies connected to Rizal's youthful life are Julia Celeste Smith and Segunda Katigbak. So the first time Rizal felt a special attraction was when he met Julia Celeste Smith. So at that time, Rizal was only 15 years old. He met Julia by accident at the Dampalit River in Los Baños in 1877. Julia was 16 years old, beautiful and full of life. She was happily chasing butterflies when near the riverside but could not catch any. Rizal, being kind and gentlemanly even at a young age, helped her by catching two butterflies and then offering them to her. So when he gave the butterflies to Julia, Rizal felt something new in his heart, something like soft, exciting fondness. So it was his real experience of attraction to a girl. But however, their meeting was only brief, so mubo ra kay tanan. Rizal and Julia did not see each other again after that day. Because there was no chance to build a deeper friendship, Rizal eventually forgot about Julia. She became only a passing memory in his youth, like the butterflies he once caught for her. So Julia represents Rizal's first crush, innocent and sweet but not lasting. So the second girl who touched Rizal's young heart was Segunda Katigbak. She was only 14 years old when Rizal met her and she came from Lipa, Batangas. Segunda was the younger sister of Mariano Katigbak, one of Rizal's close friends in school. So Rizal first saw her at his grandmother's house in Trozo, Manila, during one of his visits. So from the very beginning, Rizal was charmed by Segunda's attractive smile and her graceful personality. So Rizal soon found himself eager to see more often. So he would visit the Colegio de Concordia, the school where his sister Olympia and Segunda were boarding. So whenever Rizal visited, he would say that he came to see his sister, but in reality, he wanted to see Segunda. So his action shows us deeply how he admired her, even though he tried to hide it. But sadly, Rizal's love for Segunda was impossible. So he learned that she was already engaged to Manuel Luz, a man from Lipa. So because of this, Rizal never told Segunda how he truly felt. So out of respect and perhaps also out of shyness, he kept his feelings to himself. So instead, he tried to move on by spending time with another young lady, Leonor Valenzuela, who was also admired by many. But deep in his heart, Sigonda remained unforgettable.
Good morning, everyone. I am Aljel Isabel, and today let's proceed to the important women in the life of Rizal. So let's proceed to Leonor Valenzuela, or also known as Orang. So, who is Leonor Valenzuela? Leonor Valenzuela, ang iyang nickname kay Orang. She was Rizal's neighbor and one of his early loves when he was studying in Manila. So, kanay si Leonor Valenzuela kay silingan din ni Rizal nga eskwela siya sa Manila. So, nagrent si Rizal sa house of Doña Concha Liva in Intramuros while studying at the University of Santo Tomas. Okay, so nag-abang de si Rizal dito sa kang Doña Concha Liva nga nag-eskwela siya sa University of Santo Tomas. The Valenzuela family lived nearby. So, ang Valenzuela family naarasad de ay dool sa iyahang giabangan. And Rizal got to know Leonor, and dito nagkaila siya kang Leonor. So Rizal courted Leonor Valenzuela in a very creative way. So ni court si Rizal daw kang Leonor in a very creative way. So he wrote love letters in invisible ink. So naghimong siya og love letter nga invisible. Which she had to hit over a lamp to read. Kinahanglan pang ikuan sa lamp para makita kung unsa to ang gisuwat. So, their romance was sweet but short-lived and did not lead to marriage. So, short ra day kailahang panag-uyab. And why it ended? So, Rizal eventually transferred his affections to another, Leonor. So, ang iha daw gugma kang Leonor Valenzuela na transfer kang Leonor pod ang pangalan. Ang complete name kay Leonor Rivera, who became his long-term sweetheart. Og nahimo daw si Leonor Rivera nga pinakadugay niya nga nauyab. Next, let's proceed to Leonor Rivera. So, kinsa si Leonor Rivera? Leonor Rivera was Rizal's cousin on his mother's side. So, igagaw din niya si Leonor Rivera sa side sa iyahang mama. And is often described as his greatest love. Okay, si Leonor Rivera daw ang pinaka-great love ni Jose Rizal. Then din sila nag-meet. Rizal meet Leonor Rivera in Dagupan, Pangasinan when he was a medical student. O dito niya na-meet si Leonor Rivera sa Dagupan. Nga nag-eskwela pa sa Rizal as a medical student. Then they had a deep and lasting relationship for about 11 years. O diba? Kataas sa tuig. Nag-long last gyud ilahang relationship for about 11 years. Rizal often wrote letters to her when he traveled abroad. O kung mo travel daw si Rizal sa abroad, sige siya og padaog love letter kang Leonor. Sige gyud siya padala. Many historians believe that Leonor Rivera was the inspiration for Maria Clara, the heroine of Rizal's novel, No Limitang Hire. So, nganong na-end ilang relationship? Their relationship was challenged by distance and family opposition. Okay, so sa sige og biyahe-biyahe ni Rizal, na-challenge ang ilahang relationship, and also family opposition pod. Contradict ni oppose ang family sa babay. While Rizal was in Europe, Leonor's mother discouraged her from continuing the relationship, diba? So si Rizal daw nga tuwa sa Europe, discourage niya si Leonor about Kang Rizal. So eventually, Leonor was married off to Henry Kipping, an Englishman, and which deeply hurt Rizal. Then also, si Leonor Rivera is namatay siya at the age of 26. So, sayo namatay si Leonor Rivera.
My name is Feby Maluya, and today I will be sharing with you the 5th and 6th lover of Dr. Jose Rizal. Let us get to know his 5th lover first. Consuelo Ortega y Rey was a young Spanish woman who captured the heart of Dr. Jose Rizal during his stay in Madrid in the early 1880s. She was the daughter of Don Pablo Ortega y Rey, a Spanish liberal and former mayor of Manila who later became vice president of the Council of the Philippines in Spain. Their home in Madrid was a gathering place for Filipino students and reformists, including Rizal himself. Consuelo was described as lively and admired in Spanish society, intelligent and diplomatic, able to hold deep conversations, romantic and expressive, keeping a diary where she wrote about Rizal's charm and wit, gracious and warm, often hosting Filipino guests in her family's home. Rizal met Consuelo in September 1882 and they quickly formed a connection. Consuelo wrote in her diary that Rizal spoke to her almost the whole night and said many beautiful things about her. Rizal even dedicated a poem to her which was entitled A la Señorita C-O-E-R, which means to Miss Consuelo Ortega y Rey, as a sign of Rizal's affection to her. However, Rizal chose not to pursue his relationship with Consuelo. It was because, first, he was still loyal to Leonor Rivera, who was his love back home. Second, he didn't want to hurt his friend Eduardo Deleta's feelings, who was still courting Consuelo at that time. Tragically, Consuelo's later life was marked by sadness. After her father died and her brother left for the Philippines, she was left alone in Madrid. She died of tuberculosis, reportedly alone, sad, and abandoned. Consuelo may not become Rizal's lifelong partner, but through Rizal's writings and Consuelo's diary, Consuelo remains a poignant figure in the story of the hero's heart. Now, let's get to know Rizal's 6th lover. Ose-san, whose real name is Siko Osue, was a Japanese woman who played a meaningful role in Jose Rizal's life during his brief stay in Japan in 1888. She was Rizal's 6th known romantic connection, and their story is one of a quiet affection, cultural exchange, and bittersweet parting. Siko Osue was born into a samurai family, educated and fluent in English and French, worked as an interpreter at the Spanish legation in Japan. She was known for her grace, intelligence, and kindness. Rizal stayed in Japan for 45 days, and during that time, Ose-san, or Siko Osue, became his close companion. She introduced him to Japanese culture, tradition, and places. They even shared peaceful walks, deep conversation, and mutual admiration. Rizal felt a genuine affection for her and even considered marrying her and staying in Japan. But the sad part is, their love didn't last. Rizal chose to leave Japan to continue his mission for the Philippines. He prioritized his love for his country over personal happiness. In his writings, he remembered her fondly, saying, "No woman has ever loved me like Osesan." Osesan represents a moment of peace in Jose Rizal's life, a gentle pause before Jose Rizal returned to his country to fight for Filipino freedom. Her story reminds us that even heroes have hearts that long, love, and let go.
So now let's talk about the seventh woman who captured Rizal's heart, which is si Gertrude Beckett or Getty. So kaning Getty kay gikan ni kang Rizal, so yang giniknaman si Gertrude og Getty nya si Getty sad kay giniknaman niya si Rizal og Pepe. So ilang romance nahitabo sa London, England around 1888 to 1889. So Gertrude was the daughter of Rizal's English landlady. So she was described as simple, sweet, and very devoted. So during Rizal's stay in London, he was so busy doing his work, his research for Morga's successes. So while he was focused in his work, Getty or si Gertrude slowly developed deep feelings for him. So kay busy man si Rizal sa iyang work, sa iyang research, so Getty helped Rizal with his daily chores and admired his brilliance. So, ilang connection ni Dako, pero si Rizal nakapansin nga, uy, distraction man ni. So, dili siya makafocus sa iyang mission daw, di siya makafocus sa iyang research. So, si Rizal ni-decide nga mo hawa sa London. So, before Rizal leaving, he left her a carved sculpture as a remembrance. So, mura siya silent way of saying goodbye kay Gertrude. So, now let's talk about the Rizal's eighth lover, mao si Nelly Boasted. So, ilang story kay nahitabo sa Biarritz, France from 1889 to 1890. So Nelly was a wealthy Filipina mestiza, the daughter of the Boasted family who hosted Rizal during his stay in France. So, kani si Nelly kay na-admired ni Rizal sa iyang mga ideals. So, ilang baruganan daw og prinsipyo kay same daw. Maong na-admire si Nelly kay Rizal. So, si Rizal pud iyang gi-court sa Nelly. So, meaning, seryoso jud siya kay Nelly. Ug tungod sa ilang closeness pod kay daghan nagtuo nga sila kay Minyo. Pero, kana nga tuo kay naay dakong challenge. So, naay dakong challenge. So, unsa man tong challenge? So, naay turning point sa ilang relationship. So, ang family ni kay ni ask Rizal to convert to Protestantism in order for the marriage to be accepted daw. So, usa man din ang Protestantism. So, ang Protestantism kay usa ni siya ka major branch sa Christianity. So, lahi siya sa Roman Catholic nga relihiyon nga atong naandan diri sa Pilipinas. So, nag-start ang Protestantism sa Reformation movement ni Martin Luther sa Europe during 15s. So ang ilang tuyo aning Protestantism kay bag-oo nila ang simbahan. Wala sila muuyon sa practices sa Catholic Church sama sa indulgences og ilang gipush ang direct connection sa Ginoo through the Bible. So dili lang pinaagi sa pare. So balik ta ka Rizal. So si Rizal kay Catholic siya by heart ug naa siya strong faith. So, dili siya gusto mo biya sa iyang relihiyon, just para lang sa gugma. So, tungod ana, wala na dayon ilang plano nga magpakasal o natapos ilang relasyon. So, bisan pa man nakita nato nga seryoso si Rizal sa iyang panindigan, both as lover and as person of faith.
So mao ang love story ni Rizal og Nelly Boasted, usa ka almost love story na unta nga napugngan tungod lang sa relihiyon. So those were the love stories of Gertrude Beckett and Nelly Boasted. So two women who shared special connection with Rizal but whose stories both ended in heartbreak. So one ended because of destruction and the other because of fate.
Now, let's move on to the other love affairs of Jose Rizal, specifically Susain Hakubi, Vicenta Ibardalosa, and Josephine Bracken. These women became part of Rizal's personal life while he was fulfilling his mission for the Filipino nation. By studying them, we will understand not only Rizal's emotion as a man, but also the sacrifices he made as a hero. Let us begin with Susain Hakubi. Susain Hakubi was born on July 17, 1845 in Asselborn, Clairvaux, in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. In 1890, Rizal was in Brussels, Belgium, where he stayed to continue writing his novel El Filibusterismo. He boarded at the house of the Hakubi sister, Catherine and Susanna, who took care of him during his stay. Their niece, Susain Hakubi, became very close to Rizal. Susain was very affectionate, warm, and openly caring. She admired Rizal's brilliance and gentle personality. During Rizal's stay, Susain often spent time with him, and their closeness eventually led her to fall in love. She expressed her feelings through letters filled with longing and devotion, and gave Rizal embroidered gifts as tokens of affection. In one letter, she even confessed her loneliness whenever Rizal was not around and pleaded with him to remain in Belgium. However, Rizal could not stay. He left Brussels for Madrid to continue his reformist work and political responsibilities for the propaganda movement. Rizal prioritized his duty to the Filipino people over Susain's love. After he left, Susain's letters revealed her sadness and broken heart. She once wrote about how difficult it was to forget him. Mauni ang makita nato nga Rizal had to sacrifice his personal happiness for a greater cause, which is his love for the Philippines. The next woman is Vicenta Ibardalosa. This relationship is not as famous or well documented as Rizal's other romances, but she is mentioned in accounts around 1890 during Rizal's visit to Malolos, Bulacan. At that time, Rizal was greatly inspired by the women of Malolos, who bravely petitioned the Spanish Governor General for permission to open a night school where they could learn Spanish. These women represented courage and the fight for education, something Rizal strongly believed in. Vicenta Ibardalosa was said to be one of the young women Rizal admired during this period. Some sources mention that Rizal briefly courted her, but most historians consider this as a short-lived and passing affection. It is likely that Rizal's admiration for her was more intellectual and symbolic than romantic. Nga naman, why is this important? Because Rizal's connection with Vicenta highlights his progressive view on women. He believed that women should be educated, empowered, and given equal opportunities to contribute to society. Rizal himself wrote a famous letter to the women of Malolos, encouraging them to continue their pursuit of knowledge and independence. So, although Rizal's relationship with Vicenta did not last, it represents something deeper. His recognition of women as partners in nation building. Mao gyud ni nga respeto niya sa kababayan shows how advanced his mindset was for his time. Now let us proceed to Josephine Bracken, Rizal's last and greatest love. Josephine Bracken was born on August 9, 1876 at Victoria Barracks, Hong Kong. Josephine was an Irish woman born in Hong Kong, and she was the adopted daughter of George Stauffer, a blind man who came to Dapitan in 1895 to seek Rizal's help with his eye condition. Although Rizal could not cure Topher's blindness, his meeting with Josephine changed his life. Rizal and Josephine fell deeply in love. Despite Topher's disapproval, Josephine chose to stay with Rizal in Dapitan. They lived together as husband and wife in his home, where they shared a quiet but meaningful life. They worked in the garden, taught local students, and even planned for their future. They wished to marry officially, but the Catholic Church refused to solemnize their marriage unless Rizal retracted his anti-Spanish writings. Rizal being firm in his conviction, he refused to retract. Because of this, they were never married by the church. However, some accounts say that they had a secret union in Articulo Mortis with a priest present in Fort Santiago, though this remains debated by historians. Their love was also marked by sadness. Josephine became pregnant, but unfortunately, she suffered a miscarriage. Rizal buried their children in the Pitan and named him Francisco after his father. When Rizal was transferred to Manila and eventually sentenced to death in December 1896, Josephine remained by his side until the very end. After his execution, she joined the Philippine Revolution and fought against Spain. Josephine is remembered as Rizal's last and most faithful partner, often referred to as his widow and all but name. The variation in the number of Jose Rizal's reported lovers, some sources listing 11, others only 9, arises from differences in historical evidences, interpretation, and criteria for defining a romantic relationship. Some biographers include all known romantic interests, from early childhood crushes like Julia to brief flirtations such as Vicenta Ibardalosa, resulting in a longer list of 11. Others focus only on well-documented, serious courtships supported by letters and testimonies, which narrows to count around 9. Additionally, cultural norms of Rizal's time, the subtlety of courtships and practices, and evolving scholarship contribute to these discrepancies. New discoveries and varying biographers' emphasis also influence which relationships are highlighted or omitted. Thus, the difference reflects both the complexity of Rizal's personal life and the challenges of historical interpretation. As we reflect on Rizal's love affairs, we see that he was not only a hero, but also a man turned between gugma o katungdanan, between love and duty. His choices remind us that true love can also mean love for one's country and principle. That's all, everyone. Thank you for listening.